Hi everyone, and welcome to another process video. This is a 12 by 12 layout for ScrapMuch. Here's the sketch, designed by Laura Whitaker. And here's what I've pulled. I have some wood grain paper here. It's wood grain 2 by Studio Calico. And then I have the Hello Autumn by Blvd. I'm not going to be doing autumn pictures, but I am doing 2 photos of my parents on a trip we took to the zoo, and I thought with the green in the background on each of them that some of the leaf patterns in the collection would be appropriate. So I also pulled out some accessories, so to speak. I pulled out 2 washi tapes I thought might match, 2 acrylic paints, and then to go with that, my stencils. This I just bought at Hobby Lobby specifically for this project. I thought maybe where the splatters were on the sketch, I could use some of these, because I had pulled earlier the star stencil, because there are stars on the sketch, and then the splatters, but I didn't think they'd match as well. So since that was only $1.99 at Hobby Lobby, I picked it up. I do have my star stamps and my dies, because in the sticker sheet there's lots of stars that say things like family, enjoy being with you, so I thought I might incorporate some of those. I pulled out my Kiwi Lane tags, just because there is a tag here, to see what I end up doing with that. Some enamel dots in colors that would match the paper. And then my Prima chalk anchors. Let's see, branch bark, fall leaf, and then I wasn't sure which green. I had a feeling which green will match better, but we'll see. So I have moss lawn and garden grass. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are getting started. I also pulled out a piece of jelly bean soup. I chose the Time to Rake paper, and then the borders, and then of course the wood grain. I'm going to make sure my paper is 12 by 12 because I'm finding most manufacturers are making them slightly bigger, so I do have to trim them. I'm going to cut my photos down just ever so slightly because I find when I use 2 full 4 by 6, it's just too much on the page. And there was a lot of green that wasn't needed. If I had to do the layout over again, I would probably flip the pictures around from the way I did them this time, so they didn't appear so much as they were looking off the page. But, you know, hindsight in 2020, so, and again, paper not full 12 by 12, well, over 12 by 12, I shouldn't say not a full 12 by 12. I ended up using front and back. That's what I liked about this leaf paper. So I only had to cut 1 sheet of paper to get 2 different looks. I've been using my Kiwi Lane tag templates, not even so much for positioning, but I really like that I can put the paper in there and get an exact, banner. I find when I do it by cutting it in half and cutting up to, the cut, that they're just not perfect and I can see it, and that bugs me. So now you're going to see me play around with some of the borders, and do I want 1, do I want 2, and it ends up that even with 2 smaller ones, it was just looked top heavy, so I ended up only using the 1. And I think it just says, love you, love you, love you. Oh, thankful for you, which I am definitely thankful for my parents. They are a blessing in our lives, and our son is so in love with them, which just makes me so happy. And I ended up inking the edges in 2 different colors. On the greens, I used the orange, and on the orange and the cream, I used the green. Just gives an extra little pop. I do end up finding that I've been inking my edges more and more just to distinguish each paper from each other. It tends then not to get so lost. I do like the handles on these Prima chalkers. The only thing I don't like is locally I can only find them in sets of like 8, and I only ever want 1 color in the set of 8. So I've been buying them as I see them at shows, or the Cat's Eye by Color Box I will buy as well. So here I'm starting to commit to where I want things. I end up putting that banner or the border strip on a piece of washi, again just to pop it up. I use just a little bit of the Scotch glue in a fine line bottle because I find no matter what washi I use, if I don't use a little bit of glue on the ends, it always ends up popping up. I bought that fine line bottle after seeing it in a Jennifer Maguire favorites video, and I have to say I really like it. I have my, I was going to say crystal lacquer, but that's not it, glossy accents in one, and then I have my Scotch quick dry in another. And I find it's much easier to use than when it was just in the Scotch bottle. So I bought the Holtz Ruler, and I was showing you there, the metal strip has actually fully come out. So I don't know what that's all about. I'm going to try to see if I can glue it back in. And I'm going to fiddle with this banner for a while because while it's technically straight there with the ruler, visually, for me, it didn't look straight. I don't know if it's that green leaf in the center of the banner that was throwing me off, but I ended up going with what it visually looked like rather than what was technically straight. So now I'm going to start with the stickers. I had several different pieces from that collection, the 12 by 12 that came with it, then plus the extras. And I ended up using a lot of things that said, things like family or love. And I find with the tiny word stickers, that they often fade into the paper when you use them. So I've been inking those as well. Again, just to give them some dimension and distinguish. I've been using every little scrap of my pop dots, so that edge that technically isn't a dot anymore, I still use it on straight pieces like you'll see on those arrows and things. That way I don't have to cut my foam tape in half and save that for bigger pieces. I'm trying to get the most miles out of my product. I'm going to play around with some enamel dots, and then you're going to see me get out the modeling paste. I didn't include the entire modeling paste process because I fiddled with it for quite a while, since that stencil was not meant for scrapbooking. It took me a really long time to get each piece dry and then put another piece on, so that they didn't end up ruining each other. I also forgot to figure this out, putting my title on. I just used green corrugated thickers and then outlined them with a black pen. So I will include a picture at the end so you can see what I ended up doing with that. And I hope you enjoyed this process. And if you'd like to see more process videos, I'd love to hear your comments. And I'd love it if you would hit subscribe. I love interacting with all of you, and I love learning from you, and I hope you learn from my processes. So until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.